Well, I am so excited to be at GatherVerse and to be able to share a little bit about blockchain and digital identity. My name is Sandy Carter, and I'm Unstoppable's SVP and channel chief, and in love with the Web3 space. If you want to ask me questions, since I know we're virtual, please reach out to me on my Twitter handle, Sandy_Carter, or basically Telegram, any other form of social media. So let's get started. I wanted to start out with a little story. Every Sunday, my daughters want pancakes. So we started this tradition at my house, and I would make them pancakes. Well, one day they came to me with this picture that they found, and they said, "Mom, can you make us this pancake?" And I said, "Of course, I can make you that pancake." And this is what I came up with. I know you're probably sitting there laughing right now, but just know that this is a great MVP. First of all, my customers, my daughters loved it. They ate it and they even posted it to Instagram. Oh my goodness. Two, any MVP has a little bit of lacking in the user interface department. And three, this is what innovation is all about. It's about experimentation, trying new things, pivoting when they don't work, so that you can make it better. And that is where we are right now in the Web3 era. I love to say that we're in the era of the dial-up, right? Where you hear that dial-up phone, but it's going to get better. It's going to be great. So I told you I was Sandy Carter from Unstoppable. I do want to, before we talk about how that experimentation really jives, I want to just tell you a little bit about Unstoppable, because I will be talking about digital identity and truth in advertising. We are a digital identity company. We have over 350 partners, 2.5 million domains, and we support over 10 EVM chains today. And our claim to fame is really around the support of digital identity, which we'll get into today. So I wanted you to know a little bit about our company. We just did our unicorn raise, and we just got named by Forbes as one of the top startups in the United States. So we talked a little bit about that, that innovation. And here's where I see that we are today. And I'm a very visual learner, so I wanted to show you this visually. I think about a layer cake in the center. And in the center, you see that everything sits on top of the blockchain. It's the bottom layer. It's that foundation, trusted, private, secure. Sitting on top of that is Web3, where digital identity and decentralization come in. Sitting on top of that are the metaverses. They bring in technologies like AR, VR, IoT, and artificial intelligence. Sitting on top of that is user interfaces, where if you are a startup, this is a great place for you to focus. Now, I'm not really sure how to draw this yet. Maybe you guys can tweet me some ideas. But those DAOs, I think, are going to be their new governance models. A DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. I think that everything's going to be kind of wrappered in a DAO eventually. And then, of course, on both sides, I have the two-sided marketplace. You could forget that two-sided marketplace and the network effect. On the left, the creator economy, very unique about Web3. Artists, musicians can play, as well as the digital network, which is that multi-sided consumption network. So this is kind of how I visualize what this whole marketplace is about. We are going to hone and focus on digital identity, but because the foundation is the blockchain, I really did want to start there for just a minute. So I love the blockchain. I went down the rabbit hole by first looking at the blockchain when I worked at Amazon Web Services. I had several customers and partners who were using the blockchain for things like supply chain or financial services. And I became a big fan. And why do I think the blockchain is so special? One, it has a degree of transparency. It's public and it's open source, even though it's a set of blocks of information. If you set your controls correctly, you can see the data. You don't always get to see the data, so you can have protected data, but it is available on the chain. There is user ownership. And for me, one word that describes Web3 is ownership. It's interoperable, so you can move it between applications. It cannot be changed, which is important because, we used to tell our kids, be careful what you post out on Instagram or Facebook. Today, we should be saying, be careful what's on your blockchain, and it is programmable. We today, as Unstoppable Domains, have over 1 million Unstoppable Domains minted on Polygon. You saw we had 2.5 million domains overall that are minted on a variety of things like Layer 1 as well. So now that we talked a little bit about the blockchain, just as a level set of why it's so important, it is trusted, it is private, and it is secure. It's what causes the value exchange to occur. Now let's move to Web3, which is this talk's subject, which is the digital identity. So first of all, let's talk about what is your digital identity. So let's imagine we're in the Web 2 world. Oh, wait, we are. So we sign into Google with a username and password. We sign into Facebook. If we sign into Twitter with a username and password. And because of the convenience of signing in with a username or password, all the data about you stays with that application, or in some cases will be sold. In the Web3 world, now let's imagine the new world, you log in with your digital identity, but that digital identity is owned by you, not the application. So you use the same digital identity to log into every different type of application, and the benefit is that then you own the information. You control who gets to see it, when they get to see it, how much they get to see, and how they get to see it. Big difference. And that's what digital identity is all about. So let me show you my digital identity. Now, my digital identity here is built with unstoppable domains. So first that you'll notice, I have a NFT tied to my digital identity, which is sandy.nft. So sandy.nft carries my data with it today. I also have a subname, if you would, Pink Mamba, and I use that sometimes when I enter a metaverse or that sort of thing, but everything is tied to sandy.nft. Under that, you can see a set of wallets that I have that are tied to my domain or digital identity. And then over to the right, you see my social media presence is tied there. So my 86,000 followers or whatever I have today, my Tumblr, my LinkedIn followers are there, and I can choose to share that influence with another application. Also, my badges are there. I got an award for innovation. My NFTs sometimes will give me badges like Crypto Chicks or Lazy Lions. And then I also have a badge there from Unstoppable Domains. Down in the lower left, you also see a couple other elements about me. My website. Now, right now, that's my Web 2 website, but soon we just announced actually today the ability to have multiple Web 3 websites, which I'm real excited about. And the fact that I've done a humanity check proving that I am one person that's using this domain. So I can't have like several domains like you can with email, right? Over here on the right, you see my permission tabs. So now I can choose what do I share with what application when. I could share my citizenship or not. I could share my social influence or not. I could prove that I'm a human or not. The point is that I am in control of those permissions, and I get to decide what I share, when I get to share it, how I get to share it. And I own this data, and I own my digital identity. Now, today, there are over 35 million digital consumers, which is up 70 million since 2020. And we expect that number to go extremely high. In fact, I'm headed out to Token 2049, which is in Singapore. And we know that Asia is really leading the pack in terms of digital identities. But, you know, if you think about it, what can you do with that digital identity? Well, let me just give you some of the things now you can do with that domain and that digital identity. Well, one thing that you're able to do is now you can have a website. So just like you could with a Web 2 domain, right? IBM.com, Amazon.com, I could have my website. Now with Unstoppable and a Web 3 browser, Brave, I can now build my own website. So here you see a couple of examples. A thought leader, Tim Draper, he has timdraper.crypto. If you go into the Brave browser, you can see his website. One of my favorites, which I have shown here, is Unstoppable Women of Web3. And that particular website is for our group supporting women in Web3. You can also say, you know, I want to show my platform to share knowledge, cryptomoonwalkers.x. So you can actually set up any of your websites that you need to today using that domain. That's one of the utilities of that digital identity, using it to set up your website. You can also use that same digital identity now to email. So for example, using sandy.nft, I can now send an email to someone with our partner Skiff. That's end-to-end encrypted email, which is so very important. If I am a partner and I'm integrating with that, another Web 2 feature is that I can now email someone on my newsletter, but I don't get to see the email, which protects my customer and keeps it all decentralized and private. So what else can I do with my domain? I can now email with it. I can now use that domain, sandy.nft@ud.me, to email someone as well. What else can I do? Well, I can also leverage that domain mobilely. So I can basically take that domain on the go. It provides backup facilities so that I can back up that domain. It also becomes my digital business card. So here you see my NFT, sandy.nft, and my QR code. So now when I go to, let's say, a conference, I can use that card and people can scan that QR code, and that QR code now shares information that I want to share, maybe my email, maybe my Twitter handle, whatever I choose to share from that card. So now I can also have a digital business card and back up all my information, take my domain on the go. I can now also use it to sign into a number of applications. In fact, almost 400 applications. This is one example. This is a metaverse. So if I want to go into Atlantis metaverse, I can go in there, and you see here on the right, I can decide what information I want to share with this metaverse. Maybe I want to share a badge that will get me special rewards or special skins in this particular metaverse. But I can take that same digital identity and I can now log into a finance application like Cook Finance. Same domain, same digital identity. I can now log into a DeFi or decentralized finance application. I can also now use it to do a Zoom-like meeting with Huddle that enables me to have that facility in a Web3 environment. Pretty cool, right? So now I can also use that digital identity to sign into all of these applications. Information that comes from that application, it can be stored in my digital identity. I just wanted to give you another example with a family wallet that we announced with Blue Studios. Kelly is amazing. She is the founder, co-founder, and helped to create something called a family wallet. We now use Unstoppable Domain, that digital identity, to be able, instead of typing in that long crypto address that you have to decipher, you can now use your name, sandy.nft, to transfer crypto from one place to another to buy an NFT. And what we've done here too is we now have created family DAO, decentralized autonomous organization templates that you can also use and leverage. There's so much power in this digital identity. And I believe that self-sovereign identity is inevitable, not just inevitable, but actually is a human right. Protection of your data is so important. Just as, if you think about coming into your house, you close your blinds, you lock your doors because you want to protect certain things and your safety. The same thing is true with your digital identity. Now you can protect what you want to protect. A funny story, we were driving the other day and my husband and I were preparing to go to a Texas party. We were in California. We lived for a long time in Austin. We love Austin. So we were talking about, what are we going to wear? Everybody was supposed to dress up. Should we wear cowboy boots? Should we wear a hat? What should we wear? We get home and almost immediately we saw Facebook ads, Amazon ads for Stetson hats, Roper cowboy boots, shirts with fringe on it. So obviously that information that I shared wasn't protected, and I didn't decide to share that. Others decided to share that on my behalf. Now you may be thinking, oh, that's no big deal, right? That's just information about you going to a party and the Stetson hat. But let me give you another scenario. A friend of mine, his son was just diagnosed with an illness. And it's really unfortunate. And his dad wanted to learn all he could about that illness. So he went out, started searching to read lots of articles. Well, what ended up happening? Unfortunately, he started getting ads about that illness. He started having different applications reach out to him. That information should have been private. He should have decided when he wanted to share that, not having others share that information about him. Now, what I've talked to you today is what's here today, right? What information we can protect today. But imagine what the future is going to hold. In fact, I often get asked, what's your favorite digital identity application? And I often say, it hasn't been invented yet because there are so many amazing things that are coming. Let me just give you two that really hold a lot of promise for me. One is healthcare data. I was just at NFT NYC a while back, met up for a half day with a group of healthcare startups. And when I met with those healthcare startups, what they're doing is they're putting your medical information on an NFT that would be stored in your digital identity. First of all, why would you do that? Like, what's the value point? Well, they shared with me that 60% of misdiagnosis comes from the doctor not having all of your information. He may have, a piece about your dental or your blood pressure or how you did on your last eye exam, but may not have all the data. And that leads to people being misdiagnosed. So all that information could now be shared on your digital identity, and you can choose who to share it with. Obviously, you don't want to share your blood pressure with your retailer, but you do want to share it maybe with a doctor if you go in for a medical appointment. So exciting. Another thing that I think is very interesting that is coming up as well are school transcripts. So my daughter recently took a class at a community college. I called to get the transcript, right? So when she goes to college, she can get credit for the class. And guess what they told me? Fax me your request. Fax. Like, I don't know how many of you even know where a fax machine is. That was the hardest part of the whole thing. I had to fax information in. They mailed me back a paper transcript that I now have to keep. But imagine we're working with a university that information will be in your digital identity, your diploma, your certifications, all that information will be with you. And then you can choose when to share it, how to share it, and you don't risk losing it like I might lose as well. So where should we be? We should be owning our own data. We should be able to choose who we want to share it back. And we should be able to give that power and that identity back to the people. That's why I'm so excited to be at Unstoppable, because this is our mission and this is our goal. I do have several different predictions about how this will happen as well. I do think that Web3 digital identity will become the gateway to the new internet, the new 3D re-experienced internet. I do think that Asia will be a leader in creating digital identities. And I'm already seeing Web2 companies piloting a lot of these Web3 concepts, especially around digital identity. And finally, last but not least, I predict that both decentralized and government-backed digital identities will continue to find new utility as we go forward. So hopefully this was a great 20 minutes well spent. My name is Sandy Carter. Again, I'm with Unstoppable Domains. You can reach me below at my Twitter handle, Sandy_Carter. And I hope that you took something away today. If so, tweet me, DM me, Telegram me, reach out to me in some way so that I can help you out. Thank you so much for your time today.